Hello everyone. This is my first President's Letter for the Akron Bar Association. This letter is typically a written document that's published in written form in the Bar Association's Bar Examiner publication. Usually gives updates on the happenings of the Bar Association and contains anything from philosophical musings to recipes, depending on the whims of the president. In my case, I thought I would give this address in video fashion. I think that all that has occurred in this interesting 2020, a little change could do us good. So I'm going to try this as an experiment and we'll see how it goes. I would like to start out my letter or my address with a little anecdote that has kept coming to mind when I considered what I would say for my first address to the Bar Association. It starts last summer when my wife Mary and I took a motorcycle trip up through Michigan and across the north shore of Lake Superior. And let me say up front that Mary and I have not been to Sturgis. We don't ride Harley-Davidson motorcycles. We have a BMW touring bike and we are fully equipped with helmets, boots, and all the protective gear that comes with the Beamer culture. Now, that's not to say I don't have friends that are Harley riders, and we certainly have ridden our share with Harley groups, but we always stand out a little bit because we're the nerds with the helmets and the gear among all the Harley hog set who usually don't wear those things. So last summer, we took our solo trip up through Michigan and into the UP, north from Duluth and into Thunder Bay, and to head across the northern shore of Lake Superior. It was a beautiful week-long trip. We saw waterfalls, interesting small towns, lots of forest, and lots of shore. The portion of the trip we were particularly looking forward to was the northern shore of the Lake Superior. The route was the Trans-Canadian Highway, which is better known as Route 17, that really cuts across the entirety of Canada. And it goes through little towns where we were, like Nipigon and Amethyst Harbor and Marathon, and into a town called Wawa, Ontario, which is famous for its large Canadian goose statue that overlooks a bluff, and you can see going off into the west, the Trans-Canadian Highway. The problem with our adventure was that from the time we left Thunder Bay until we got to Wawa, the conditions were, let's say, not ideal. Out of Thunder Bay, we immediately had to don our rain gear, and we were riding through rain, fog, and long stretches of limited visibility. We saw no great vistas of the North Shore. Instead, as we rode along in the fog, we strained to see the road ahead. I will say that it is lonely on the Trans-Canadian Highway, at least in those days when we were riding on it. For long stretches, we rode in relative silence. Even the Beamer itself is kind of a quiet bike, for which Mary and I are ribbed quite a bit when we're riding with our other friends who ride different types of bikes. There was hanging fog and rain and compounded a sense of isolation and just total remoteness. And at one point, I kid you not, a lone gray wolf came out of the woods and stood right on the side of the road and watched us as we passed by. I think it was looking for some companionship, but we weren't about ready to stop and ask. So what's the point of this anecdote? I will tell you that there were times when we would stop for gas or to get a bite to eat somewhere or just to stop and stretch our legs off the road. And when we did so, we would find ourselves no longer totally alone and in isolation, but with others who had also stopped, and either in motorcycles or cars or RV campers had also stopped at this same location. While we never saw these people en route, when we would stop, we would come into a small cadre of these people who would share experiences and just be glad that we were gathering together to say, boy, isn't it great to know that we're not alone in the middle of Canada on, in this fog. We would discuss the road conditions, what was happening ahead, the weather, and basically just share companionships for a few moments before we got back onto the foggy road and headed on out. I relate this experience now because in some way I see the Bar Association as a gathering place similar to those spots along a foggy Trans-Canadian Highway. The Bar Association has always been a place for connection, mentoring, information exchange, and basic assistance to lawyers, young and older, who are navigating their practices. In this COVID climate, it is also a place to harbor out of the weirdness of the COVID fog. There is a lot of uncertainty. Right now, anyone who practices in the court system, for instance, does not know from week to week when the courts will be reopening. Anybody who is practicing and giving advice to businesses and to the people we represent know the kinds of questions that we're getting, where the people are asking what are they supposed to be doing and looking to us as people who have the answers. And we try to provide them those guidance and that assistance, and we try to remain informed on those. But the Bar Association becomes a place where we can have the exchange to make sure that we are doing this right and providing the kind of advice to our clients that we should be providing. I have said and continue to maintain that the Bar Association is a point of contact for all of us out on that foggy road. It is true that the meetings are done remotely rather than in person. But frankly, that can assist in the accessibility, and we found that it has assisted in the accessibility of the connection between members and the Bar Association. Anyone with a computer and an internet connection can now take an hour to attend a committee or a section meeting or any one of the various CLEs that we have. We've also been hosting other just gatherings, lunchbox gatherings and social breakfast gatherings that we have held that have been well attended, and people can dial in and participate in this fashion. And people take comfort in that. So in this time, the Bar Association has been active through all of this and will continue to be. There's a few things that we have done recently that have been sort of notable. We have welcomed new members of the board of directors, and we've gone through orientation for our new members. Those being Jim Wilkins, Lavelle Payne-Brown, Hannah Laurie Gambrell, and Andrea Whitaker. And they participated well in the last Bar Association board meeting, and we will look forward to their future contributions in the board meetings to come. We've also welcomed new officers. Michael Karst, who is Lisa Miller, who is president-elect, and Marco Karst as the vice president of membership. We also have Stephen Gross as the chair of the new lawyers committee. The association has also finished its membership renewal campaign. We extended it out this year and extended it through the end of June. And I'm happy to report that the membership had nearly a 95% renewal rate. This is very good news. I can tell you that early on in April and May, I was saying that I'd be happy if we were 70%, but we're at 95%. That demonstrates to me that the members of this organization find true value in their membership. As you all know, most nonprofit organizations are struggling with the concept of membership, and Akron Bar Association is no different. The board of directors is planning I would call it a mini retreat, to actually meet face-to-face, hopefully, to go over our membership issues and to address them. What we really need to do is attract new members. And we have a lot of people who practice in this community who are not Bar Association members. And what we'd like to do is get them involved, get them into the Bar Association. We're going to explore strategies for how that can happen. One of the things that we're doing is the Bar Association is now offering for free membership in the Bar Association for all law students. In the last few years, a membership for law students was a $25 fee. And we got a lot of law students, but what we really need to do is get them involved early on, which we hope to do. We have a new law student chair who now sits on the board of directors too, and Laura Zadonis, who works at my firm. And we're all hopeful to get law students involved. These are people that we'll be practicing with for years to come, and we need to get them involved early. And I think we'll be successful in that undertaking. CLE continues apace too. The CLE offerings have been varied and are well attended. They're actually easier to attend now than they were before. We just finished the White-Williams Bankruptcy Institute CLE, which was very successful. We have our annual insurance coverage CLE for advanced topics that are going to be conducted this year. We're doing it a little differently this year. They're going to be doing it in 4 segments of hour-and-a-half long sessions. So you will be able to attend that CLE and that a very important topic over your lunchtime. The Akron Bar Association is also going to be exploring a partnership with the Cleveland Metro Bar Association, where your membership at the Akron Bar Association will give you access to their CLEs at the reduced rate, and likewise Cleveland Metro members can access ours at a reduced rate. We're going to see how this works in terms of increasing the number of participants in our CLE. We've continued to host discussions on racial justice and equality issues. Lavelle Payne Brown led a book discussion in July, I believe it was, on the book called How to Be an Anti-Racist. Our immediate past president, Karen Adolphi, last month hosted a topic or discussion on the book White Fragility. And on October 7, Don Malarchik will be leading a discussion on the book called Just Mercy. These are highly rated books that have been out there, and I encourage you to read them and to participate in these discussions. They are Zoom discussions by lunch, and again, they are very easy to attend. The Commission on the Evaluation of Judicial Candidates has just completed the interview of candidates that are in contested races, and for the first time we actually have some races that are uncontested. So we are, those ratings haven't been published yet, but the interviews are completed and they will be shortly. The Bar Association has also been asked by the Downtown Akron Partnership to participate in an ad hoc advisory group to develop strategies for the deployment of COVID-19 emergency funds. So Alan Nichols and Ikel Kelly will be participating in that, and we'll be directly working with others in this community to figure out how to best to deploy those funds. The one question that comes up, of course, repeatedly is, when are we going to be back in the Bar Association building? I'm here now, and I like coming to this building because it's a great place, but the fact of the matter is it's been closed. Alan Nichols has been developing protocols to establish the reopening of this building. We recently sent out a survey to bar members to see what their thoughts were in terms of reopening this building. We had 172 members respond, and I can tell you the responses ranged from let's open now to let's never open and let's just make ourselves a Zoom organization. The majority of the responses, as you can imagine, were sort of somewhere in the middle, is that we're either going to wait until there's a vaccine that's readily available or until Summit County is a level 1 under Ohio's risk level assessment. So right now we're trying to figure out when that'll happen. We're level 2 at this point in time, so the idea is we're going to be closed for the foreseeable future, but hopefully we will be in a position to reopen this building and be back doing what we normally do. And I think by that time we'll all be in the courthouses too. You can still be active in the Bar Association. We have upcoming events. Please register for them and attend them. We will have the October 7 at-home brown bag book discussion that I mentioned. We will have other CLEs that are coming up too. As always, be involved, be engaged, and stay tuned. We have more events coming your way. Thank you for being a part of it, and I look forward to working with you over the next year. Thanks.